Commissioner Anna Cranford. You do have a double standard. I'm not condoning anyone's speech or anything, but I was here a few months ago when you allowed former freeholder Sullivan to point to the crowd and say, "Don't listen to these idiots and whiners," as he was referring to myself and other citizens such as Bruce Paterson. And lo and behold, months later, Mr. Sullivan is found to have been giving himself an extra $2,500 a month payments and doling out payments to his underlings, and with unbeknownst to his commissioners at the Union County Utilities Authority. So that became an issue. And I hope you're staying on top of that. I don't have high hopes of it since the previous meeting in April, you signed a shared service agreement and gave him even more authority over tax dollars. And apparently he doesn't even know how the system works despite being a freeholder for almost 20 years. He thought he could just write checks to himself and his underlings. So there are issues here. There's a reason why there's a lack of respect. I try and be respectful, but honestly, you're not respectful to the public. So you do have to earn respect. And I believe you owe the former gentleman who got up here and asked a question about why he was fired at the polls, I believe you owe him a public explanation. He took the time to come here tonight and ask you in a public forum during a public meeting why this occurred. You, freeholder Hudak, are in charge of the poll workers in Linden because you are the Linden chairman, Democratic chairman. So who you want at those polls supersede anyone that was there for X amount of years. So you know the answer to why those people were fired, and it is a big scandal. I did get an email on that. You have the answer, and you owe the public an answer. And your capacity as freeholder, you owe the public an answer. What is this power you're evoking over these Linden elections? It's the system. I believe you're working within the system, but you can explain that to the public, how exactly the system works. You wanted these poll workers replaced, and you have them replaced as chairman. If not, refute it. But don't do it after the meeting. He asked you publicly. You should answer him publicly. Let us all hear the answer. I attended a public meeting on April 23rd, the matter of your Lieutenant Purcell. He's fighting his loss of 90 days suspension for taking home a generator during Superstorm Sandy. And a lot was revealed. I don't have time to go into the whole thing, but I would hope that you would pay attention to the transcripts of that hearing. Unfortunately, none of you were there to pay attention to what was going on, because it was quite alarming. It was revealed that your Director of Emergency Management really didn't know what was going on in Kenilworth under Purcell's division. He had no idea what was going on. This is what was revealed in testimony. Nobody refuted it. So hurricane season is right around the corner. I don't suggest that you would wait until this matter is resolved to do something about that. I would. I don't know who's in charge here. Who's in charge? Is someone in charge of that? Raise your hands, because I can tell you nobody was in charge during that hurricane. Despite their losing $800,000 in equipment in Irene, no one had a plan in place for what was going to happen at that Kenilworth location. So those officers were in charge of putting things into their own hands, and they responded admirably, but it had nothing to do with your emergency management planner. He had no plan, he had no communication with them, he had no idea what was going on over there. Total disgrace. And I wonder if he has a plan now, and if you're going to enact that before the next emergency comes. And that's it. And the public is owed an explanation for that too. Disgraceful. The position those officers were put in was disgraceful. And just like you're disrespectful to the public, you're disrespectful to your employees for putting them in that position. Oh, I'm not thanking you, so I can't go over my time limit.
You're over your time.
And I don't approve of what Bruce said, but you did violate his rights. And I wouldn't be surprised if the ACLU is back here. You cannot stop people from speaking because you don't like what they're saying.
Have a seat.
You allowed the woman to thank you over the time,
Ms. Renna,
but you don't like what I'm saying, so I have to sit down.
I've asked
That's a right violation.
Ms. Renna, have a seat.
You're violating the rights.
Ms. Renna, have a seat.
Answer the gentleman
Ms.
from
Renna.
Linden.
Really?
Answer.
Have a seat.
Answer.
Have a seat. Ms. Renna, as a Republican committee woman, as I'm aware that you are, I'm sure you're aware that the municipal chairman, partisan office, which has no relation to my freeholder position, has the ability to appoint up to 2 poll workers in this position. And I'm sure the Republican chairman of Cranford exercises that authority as well. It has nothing to do with my position here as being a freeholder or being the chairman of the freeholder board. So I'll be happy to discuss that matter with the gentleman, but it has nothing to do with this public meeting or what we're discussing. And as a Republican committee woman in the Township of Cranford, I'm sure you're aware of that. Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak?